Hey nerds, today we're continuing our journey at the new Starfleet Academy. We're reviewing Season 1, Episode 3, Vitus Reflux. The cadets compete to join elite team, but a prank war between Starfleet Academy and a rival school threatens to throw everything into chaos. Let's dive into it, starting right now. Welcome back to the Nerd Soul Show. I'm Nathan. As always, if you want to skip ahead of the intro to my analysis, rating, or breakdown, check the chapter links below. So this episode is available on Paramount Plus on January 22nd, and it runs about 62 minutes. Let's kick things off with a more expanded, spoiler-free logline. While our cadets compete to join an elite team at the Academy, a battle of escalating pranks breaks out between Starfleet Academy and the War College. Tensions rise fast, threatening their newly emerging bonds and a blossoming romance. This episode is directed by Doug Aronofsky, a veteran of modern Trek who directed episodes of Discovery, including Lethe and Sound Thunder, as well as multiple episodes of Picard, including The Next Generation and Disengage. He's also worked extensively on shows like Criminal Minds and Sleepy Hollow. This episode is written by Alex Tobe and Kylie Rosetta. This is their first Star Trek credit, bringing fresh voices to the franchise. So, quick channel update diversion. If you haven't watched my previous review on the first 6 episodes, you can check out a link above. So I'm not going to go over the cast in this video because I did it in the last video. The other thing is that we didn't post a background of episode 1 and 2 yet. I'm typically going to record these with Condra, but she had some issues with her internet. So we only got half of that review recorded, but we will post it at some point. So the way that these are going to work, I or we will do a review of the episode, and then we'll actually do the breakdown of the episodes. I, of course, will tell you when we're going to get into spoilers. Let's talk about the episode in a non-spoiler way just by discussing how I felt about the episode. So for me, this feels like the show settling into its identity after extended premiere that introduced all our characters and a diplomatic episode that showed us what Academy life looks like. Vitus Reflux gives us a classic college rivalry storyline, but with a Trek spin. The prank war premise could easily to or CW, and honestly, the first time I watched this, that's what I thought. But upon rewatch, and requires watching these episodes in meticulous detail to catch all the Easter eggs, I actually came to enjoy it more than I did originally. It seems like they're using this episode to explore the tension between the Academy's idealistic approach and the War College's more militant philosophy. So we're also getting Jet Reno in this episode, which is a welcome because Tig Notaro is awesome and brings a very specific energy to the franchise. I think that even in rewatch, I wasn't as interested in the shenanigans as others might be, but I do enjoy the framing device that they used at the beginning and the end of this episode, which I didn't really clock when I watched the episodes around Christmas time, and I enjoyed some of the other ones that are coming up later a little bit more. I also appreciated, since this show is supposed to be an entry point for new Trek fans, I really appreciated the philosophy of Starfleet and basically Trek being front and center, but not necessarily the bludgeon over the head in this episode as well. So with all that said, how would I rate this episode? I think I would rate this episode a dinner party, which on our scale is a 7. If you're unfamiliar with our scale, it is down below in the description. It's definitely an episode that's grown on me as I watched it a couple of times now over the last month and a half. The subtle way that they weave in specifics around the Star Trek ethos is what really bumps it up for me. And also, like I said, I really appreciate Jet Reno's appearance, and Commander Thalk is also growing on me as well. So their dynamic between the two of them is really great. And this episode also does a good job of exploring a few of the cadets in a deeper way. In this episode specifically, we get to explore the internal lives of Caleb, Genesis, and Durham. That's it for my review, but to really talk about this episode, I gotta break it down and get into spoilers. But before I do that, if you're enjoying the review so far, please like and share. It really helps the channel out. And with that, we're gonna get into spoiler territory. So spoilers ahead. So we start this episode off with the framing device that I mentioned earlier. It's basically Durham sending a letter to his parents. Cadet Durham Rainey records a personal message. Dear mother and father, in the 3 weeks since the academy began, I'm confident I'm maintaining the standard of excellence we agreed upon. Last to bed, first arise. Then Genesis interrupts, revealing she wakes up at 4:40 a.m. for speed, agility days, and 3 8:30 a.m. for power days. And then we cut to a montage of both Academy and War College cadets training cardio, weights, sprints, combat drills under Commander Thawk's demanding watch. There's also a friendly rivalry that is announced by one of the dot droids, and Caleb mere beats a War College cadet. But at this point, the rivalry tensions are evident. Commander Thawk announces tryouts for the Calica team. Durham brags about being captain all-planet under 18 team for 4 years. Genesis reveals she was captain of the Interbase Youth League for 5 years, while also being a student ambassador to Model Flight Console. When asked when did she sleep, she says, "Adamo, daughter, you don't need to sleep." Then a Vulcan War College cadet hits Caleb in the head with a ball and mocks the Academy cadets. Tensions escalate as insults fly back and forth. Akram threatens violence. Maybe our very large unfriend will smack the eyebrows off your freaking face. But Commander Thawk intervenes. No blood will be shed on my court without my express permission. And we're treated to a prank. While the cadets are in the sonic showers, the War College hacks their systems and transports them naked to various locations across the campus. Caleb lands in Commander Rito's temporal mechanics class. Genesis ends up in a fountain in the atrium. The Vulcan announces over comms, "Attention Starfleet cadets, we did this because we could. We will keep doing it because it's fun." Durham declares, "This is war." So, a couple Star Trek lore things. Sonic showers, I think, were established back in the 24th century and the TNG era. I couldn't find any reference to Calica in Memory Alpha or anywhere else on the internet, so this is maybe a new game added for this show. If you found it somewhere else, put a comment down below and educate everyone. So this is a cute opening, I guess. This is the YA stuff that I was worried about, but like I said, this episode grew on me over time. All right, then after the teaser, we get the credits, and then in Act 1, we're in Captain Aki's office. She's reviewing a cheesy recruitment voiceover. Commander Thawk warns her, "We are about to have a prank war on our hands." Just as the oversight committee arrives, Aki is unfazed. Thawk, as a War College graduate, urges Aki to demand a formal apology from Kelrick. Aki refuses. "It's not our job to resolve our students' problems for them. We're going to teach them how to fish business." Also, that's not fun. She does talk to the kids in the next scene. Aki brings the cadets to the greenhouse and assigns them to grow the rare Vitus reflux. Despite being known as the empathy flower, it's not actually a flower, it's a fungus. When Durham objects, the fungus mimics him in a squeaky voice. Aki cites Sun Tzu's Art of War, 5th century BC. Sun Tzu learned patience in the garden and respect for the opponent. Cadets want revenge, but Aki insists, "Grab a trowel." So the Vitus reflux seems to be a new species introduced in this episode. A protected fungus that mimics speech and blooms at night, requires patience to grow, and responds negatively to stress. The reference here to Sun Tzu, Art of War, classic military strategy text. It was referenced across Trek, notably in DS9. There's a announcement over the comms. The digital gene announces Specialist Krebs, your Talaxian furfly is attempting to mate with a beaker. The callback to Voyager. In Act 2, Commander Thawk explains Calica. Strategy, skill, teamwork. Calica is more than just a game. 2 teams, each with a mascot protecting a target. Coach Reno joins as a nerd jock hybrid. She explains the Academy mascot was historically a lapling. Fuzzy meme, cute like a targ. They called him Lappy. The obstacle course begins with drones attacking cadets. So Durham and Genesis rack up bonus points while competing fiercely. Caleb arrives late and impresses with his street fighting instincts, but gets disqualified for destroying a drone. Genesis and Durham trade barbs. Then after tryouts, Caleb spots Tarima of the War College in the gym and has Jaden distract the other cadets. Jaden tells terrible Klingon jokes. There seems to be some energy between him and Kyle here. Caleb confronts Tarima about choosing the War College without telling him. She's cold. She calls him out for projecting feelings onto her and assuming she'll eventually reciprocate. She shoots a basket with her back to the rim and walks away. So the lapling, the Academy mascot, is an endangered species from TNG, the most toys in Kiva Fajo's collection. The Mgato, the War College's mascot, is a white horned gorilla creature from TOS's A Private Little War. A Targ is a Klingon pet / food, which was an animal mentioned as a comparison in TNG. There's been many references to Targs, mostly by Worf and other Klingons. All right, in Act 3, the team roster is announced. Okuma Occam becomes the Lapling mascot. Genesis and Durham are tied for captain and must compete in a shootout. They're dead even through 6 targets. Durham gets in Genesis' head. Genesis loses her composure. She misses the next 2 shots. Durham wins captaincy and celebrates obnoxiously, hoisted by a whooping posse of dudes. The War College escalates the prank war by hacking into communications and broadcasting embarrassing footage of the Calica tryouts set to the Academy's own recruitment voiceover, mocking Starfleet cadets. Durham challenges them to an unofficial Calica game tonight, our atrium, after classes. In the next scene, Aki visits Kelrick's office, which has a retinal scan, which is serious security, as noted by Aki, and he dryly jokes, "We tried funny security, but no one felt safe." She endures his elaborate tea ceremony. Aki accuses him of helping his cadets access Academy security. He admits it. Someone has to teach her cadets that life and war will come at them from all sides. Aki appeals to empathy. Kelrick refuses to back down. We found the tea fetish thing that Thok was alluding to in the opening scene in Aki's office. It is very odd. And apparently in 32nd century, security is a biometric and DNA scanning for office access. All right, in Act 4, we have the unofficial game. Late at night, both teams meet in the atrium. Durham sets the rules. First to 4 points, he assigns everyone to defense while he handles offense alone. The game begins and Durham is immediately shot. The Academy gets demolished 3-0. Caleb hesitates when he sees Rima of the War College. He shoots her, but she was a distraction while they score. Genesis calls a timeout. Genesis develops a new strategy. Shoot the replicators to create smoke cover. Not sure how this is possible since these phasers only transport. Anyway, can't hit what they can't see. Sam makes herself look like she's the Lapling mascot and reveals she can make herself permanable, which is a reference to the joke earlier in the episode that Jet Reno made when Durham was upset about Sam being porous. From above, Caleb picks off the entire War College team as they made their locations known when they shot at Sam. Through smoke, they score their first point. Durham, humbled, hands Genesis the captaincy. "You're a better captain than I am. Team's yours." Then Commander Thok and Reno catch them. Thok, what in the sweet name of Kronos is this? Aki lectures them about patience and empathy while wearing what they believe is accordion-covered pajamas, but they're war course. She puts the campus under lock and key and assigns 35 hours of disciplinary labor. Kronos is the Klingon homeworld invoked by Thok here. And of course, Sam is permeable because she's holographic. And of course, warp cores are the made-up engine that allows faster than light travel in the Star Trek universe. First introduced in the TOS era, but really expanded upon in the TNG era. All right, Act 5. Near the beginning of this act, we have Reno's advice to Durham. Durham brings his pad to Reno, claiming it's not receiving messages. She sees through it. All his outgoing messages to his parents are unanswered. She says that any message that you have to chase down does not deserve to be read by you. People are simple. They either show up for you or they don't. This is also the scene where we learn that Reno and Thok are a couple. Thok is mad about dinner. Reno, after patching up things with Thok, says that I left a starship on the edge of creation to be with her. That's what you call showing up for someone. And she mentions another person who showed up for him. And this is around the time that the cadets realize that Aki has been dropping hints all along. Kelrick and his eyeball show me growth. The empathy plants. Genesis leads the planning. They need Kelrick's retinal scan to disable the War College's security. Durham gets it by hugging Kelrick in an elaborate Hoenian tradition. Jadam creates a biometric gel eye replica. Caleb hacks the security grid for 60 seconds while Sam teleports in, delivers the Vitus reflux plants to every War College dorm with Genesis growth serum. Caleb, disguised as the Megatu, is caught by Tarima, who can sense him. She apologizes for not telling him about choosing the War College. She explains she chose the War College for discipline, to learn control over her heightened betazoid empathy. She senses Caleb's true feelings. You're convincing yourself not to care about this place, these people. This is the first time you felt part of a group and you like it. You're afraid they'll let you down. They nearly kiss. Then she sets off the alarm and says, "I win," and she kisses him anyway. Durham rescues Caleb with a transporter module. Star Trek references here. Betazoid empathy. Tarima's abilities are heightened beyond normal betazoids. She needs a neural inhibitor. The famous betazoids, of course, that we know of is Troy and her mother from TNG. We also get confirmation Rena-Thok relationship. This is, of course, going to make a bunch of people who apparently don't understand Trek mad on the internet, which I'm all here for. We also get a reference to Navari cuisine when they resolve their dinner plans. Navar is the reunified Vulcan Romulan people from Discovery. I believe it was the third season that we learned about with their reunification. So they were mentioned in the earlier scene alongside Chinese and French Klingon fusion. And finally, we get a reference to the Belakovian, a Bajoran instrument Durham played as a child, mentioned during his apology to Genesis. The Bajoran people, of course, are mostly featured in DS9. I have to look up the episode that the Belakovian comes up, but it does show up in a Memory Alpha article. Okay, on to Act 6, the resolution. In the morning, the War College cadets wake up screaming. The Vitus reflux has grown all over their dorms, covering everything. The female cadet runs out into the courtyard yelling, "I'm gonna kill whoever did this. We're going to rip those weeds out and shove them so far down your throat, you're going to start assing chlorophyll." Kelrick stops them. The Vitus reflux is a protected species under Starfleet Regulation 286.3. Aka corrects him, 286.4 actually. Disturbing the plant before it reaches adulthood is a crime, and maturation takes longer if those plants sense any stress. So keep calm if you can. Oh, and it helps to talk to them with patience and empathy. Calling back to her conversation with Kelrick in his office when she was imploring empathy. Kelrick yields. The victory is yours. Later, Caleb confronts Aki in her office, confirming that she was one of the cadets who transported first years to the Alcatraz roof all those years ago. Aki admits it. She was behind the legendary Alcatraz prank in the 28th century. She's been guiding them toward this all along. Half the fun was seeing if they'd all actually do it. Caleb asks, "Why does everything have to be a full-on lesson?" Aki retorts, "Because it's a school, Caleb. The War College teaches its cadets to fight battles. I'm teaching you to end wars." There's a tag here between Aki and Thok. Thok admits she should have trusted Aki's approach, and she's going to meditate on trust. Then we get the end of the other part of the framing device for this episode. Durham has a voiceover letter to his parents. It's fascinating to be a part of a community where excellence is prized and rewarded, but not to the detriment of its individual members. One can lead and be led with empathy, patience, and not just for others, but for oneself as well. I never knew such a thing was possible. Perhaps this is what friendship and family are meant to be. Perhaps this is who I am meant to be. Genesis gives Caleb a team jacket. Welcome to the team. So this is what I'm talking about when I said when I rewatched this, it grew in my estimations. The tag here, the speech that Aki gives Caleb with the Star Trek theme quietly playing below her words about the ethos of Star Trek. Really, again, the Starfleet philosophy as articulated by Aki is the War College teaches its cadets to fight battles. I'm teaching you to end wars, to learn the patience to formulate a true strategy, to understand your opponent so you can disarm them, which is why she kept harping on the E word of empathy to Kelrick and the kids throughout the episode. Yeah, this episode grew in my estimation after rewatching it, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the episode. Did you bump up against all the gay stuff that was happening, all the shenanigans like I did the first time I watched it? Let us know what you thought about the prank war and how the rivalry between the Academy and the War College is developing. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and share. It really helps us out. Please subscribe and hit the bell notification for more in-depth analysis of film and TV. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.